Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals SDGs 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute, Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our session, let's take the blessings from Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue to today's sessions. So today we have various commemorations such as International Universal Health Coverage Day, and also International Day of Neutrality and various other commemorations. So let's look initially at International Universal Health Coverage Day. This year, the theme is Build the World We Want, a Healthy Future for All. On 12th December 2012, on 12th December 2012, the United Nations General Assembly endorsed a resolution urging countries to accelerate progress towards universal health coverage, in short known as UHC. The idea that everyone everywhere should have access to quality, affordable health care. On 12 December 2017, the United Nations proclaimed 12 December as International Universal Health Coverage Day, UHC Day, by Resolution 72 by 138. International Universal Health Coverage Day aims to raise awareness of the need for strong and resilient health systems and universal health coverage with multi-stakeholder partners. Each year on 12th December, UHC advocates raise their voices to share the stories of millions of people still waiting for health, champion what we have achieved so far, call on leaders to make bigger and smarter investments in health, and encourage diverse groups to make commitments to help move the world closer to UHC by 2030. The COVID 19 pandemic has again shown that UHC and health security are intertwined goals to protect everyone everywhere that we achieve through the same health system in crisis and calm. For health systems to work, they must work for everyone, no matter who they are, where they live, or how much money they have. Equitable health coverage puts women, children, adolescents, and the most vulnerable first because they face the most significant barriers to essential care. On 12th December, join us to demand action on universal health coverage and call on the leaders to invest in health systems and primary health care for all and leave no one behind. Our lives and livelihoods and future depend on it. In 2019, world leaders endorsed the most ambitious and comprehensive political declaration on health in the history at the United Nations high level meeting on universal health coverage. Ahead of the high level meeting on UHC in 2023, we unite to call on leaders to deliver ambitious, actionable commitments on UHC in line with the year's UHC Day theme. Build the world we want, a healthy future for all, to build a safer and healthier future for all. We must strengthen our health systems to ensure they are equitable, resilient, and capable of meeting everyone's needs. Government, international organizations, civil society organizations, the private sector, academia, and media are encouraged to use this year's theme to keep holding leaders, our health systems, and ourselves accountable to the promise of health for all. Everyone, everywhere deserves access to quality health services in times of crisis and calm. So, the road to universal health coverage, the goal to universal health coverage has become even more urgent with COVID 19, which has increased inequalities and financial hardship. UHC and health security are two intertwined goals to protect everyone, everywhere that we achieve through the same health system in crisis and calm. UHC means that everyone, everywhere should have access to health services they need without risk of financial hardship. It is embedded in Sustainable Development Goals SDG Target 3.8 and includes full range of essential services spanning health promotion, prevention, and treatment. The three dimensions of UHC are population coverage, who receive services linked to equity, service coverage, what health services are available, and financial protection, ensuring health services do not lead to financial hardship. So, UHC is based on the principles of equity, non discrimination, and the right to health, ensuring that also the most marginalized populations are reached and covered, and no one is left behind. So, the road to universal health coverage, the goal of universal health coverage has become more attainable as the world has become richer, leading to greater access to health services and technologies such as vaccines and antibiotics, and to the most dramatic decline in poverty ever achieved. To ensure that every person benefits from the human right to health, political leaders have to make the right choices. The rational economic, financial, and social choice of universal health coverage. The World Health Organization, WHO, is one of the many members of the UN family engaged in health related matters, which includes, among others, the Joint Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, in short known as UNAIDS, the United Nations Population Fund, in short known as UNFPA, in support of reproductive, adolescent, and maternal health, and the health related activities of the United Nations Children's Fund, in short known as UNICEF. So various initiatives that has been taken part as part of International Universal Health Coverage Day. So when we look at the background on 12th December 2012, the resolution on global health and foreign policy recommended to include universal health coverage in the discussions on the post 2015 development agenda in the context of global health challenges. Member states recognize the importance of universal coverage in national health systems, especially through primary health care and social protection mechanisms to provide access to the healthcare services for all, in particular for the poorest segments of the population. On 25th September 2015, the resolution on transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, through Resolution 70 by 1, adopted the target of universal health coverage by 2030, including financial protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable medicines and vaccines for all. On 12th December 2017, the UN passed a resolution on global health and foreign policy, addressing the health of the most vulnerable for an inclusive society, Wide Resolution 72 by 139. In the resolution, it was decided to hold a UN high-level meeting, HLM in short, during 2019 UN General Assembly, in short known as UNGA, on universal health coverage, in short known as UHC. The approved modality resolution decided by the overall theme of the HLM will be the universal health coverage moving together to build a healthier world. On 23rd September 2019, the high-level meeting on universal health coverage was a significant achievement for member states who reaffirmed their high-level political commitment to UHC and endorsed the most comprehensive declaration on global health to date. Through the adoption of political declaration of the high-level meeting on universal health coverage, Resolution 74 by 2, member states recognize health as a precondition for and an outcome and indicator of the social, economical, and environmental dimensions of sustainable development, and the implementation of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and strongly recommit to achievement of universal health coverage by 2030, with a view to scale up the global effort to build a healthier world for all. In operative paragraph 78, the political declaration commits member states to increase global awareness, international solidarity, international cooperation, and action towards the achievement of universal health coverage by promoting national, regional, and global collaborative frameworks and forums, including through commemoration of International Universal Healthcare Day on 12th December of every year. The UN system, development partners, and other relevant initiatives, such as International Health Partnership for UHC 2030, provide support to the member states for the development and strengthening of the sustainability of universal health coverage at the national level, with the aim of promoting access to health services for the most vulnerable, to promote physical and mental health and well being, and to extend life expectancy for all, We must achieve universal health coverage and access to quality health care. We must leave no one behind. Let's watch a few videos so that we can understand and also gain insights.
History is made by our achievements. We have come a long way to make the impossible possible. When we come together, lives are changed. Our next historic achievement is right in front of us. Health for all humankind. What if everyone had access to the health services they need and were not pushed into poverty paying for it? Together, we can make health for all happen in our lifetime. It's time to make history again.
This is Nina and her family. It is a very precious moment for them. They have had a long journey to get here, all together, healthy and happy. When she was pregnant, Nina's mother had a difficult and complicated pregnancy, but Nina's father was able to rush her to the clinic just in time, when she had dangerously high blood pressure. Nina's older brother was diagnosed as HIV positive. Her grandfather had a stroke last year, and Nina's grandmother is finally being treated for tuberculosis after months of painful coughing. Like many other families, Nina's family also has had to deal with a lot of illness. They are very fortunate though. There is a health clinic a short distance from where they live, and they can access skilled healthcare providers and services that they can afford. In the country where Nina lives, people voted for country leaders who are committed to achieving universal health coverage by 2030. Through a progressive system, wealthier people contribute more money, and the government is able to provide an essential, affordable package of health services to all people, leaving no one behind, regardless of income, health condition, background, or where they live. So what looks like a simple meal is really a very special occasion for Nina's family. They had a long road to recovery, but never had to choose between getting healthy and putting healthy food on the table. And this sets them apart from many people around the world who can't afford or don't have access to essential, quality health services. Every family, everyone deserves universal health coverage. Let's work together towards good health and well-being for all.
You might have heard people talking about universal health coverage, but what does it really mean? Think about it this way. What do you need to get, be, and stay healthy? Can you get help from a well-trained health worker? Can you get treatment that helps you get better and is safe? Can you get the medicines and other health products you need? Who will pay for it? Are there policies in place to ensure the services you need are available to you, your family, and your community next time and every time? And does your government have accurate information about the whole system so they can make the right decisions to keep everything working the way it should? Good health needs people, services, products, finances, policies, and information. And it needs all of them to work together, even in times of crisis. And good health systems don't just treat sick people. They help to promote healthy living and prevent people from falling ill in the first place. The World Health Organization is working around the world so that all people and communities receive the quality services they need and are protected from health threats without suffering from financial hardship. That's what we call universal health coverage. So, here's to health, for you and for everyone.
So we have related observances like World Health Day, 7th April, World Water Day, 22nd March, World Autism Awareness Day, 2nd April, World No Tobacco Day, 31st May, International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, 26th June, and World Mental Health Day, October 10th, and World Diabetes Day, 14th November, World AIDS Day, 1st December, and so on, which are very much relevant to the universal coverage of health or health as such. So in the world, we want all people can access quality healthcare services without financial hardship. So universal health coverage lifts people out of poverty, promotes the well-being of families and communities, and protects against public health crisis and moves us together. So the theme for the International Universal Health Coverage Day 2022, build the world we want, a healthy future for all, makes appropriate. As we have over past 75 years, World Health Organization stands with all people, communities, and organizations and across the world in taking action to build the best world we want, a healthy future for all. Imagine if our societies and economies were designed to prioritize everyone's health. It means that we all get to enjoy productive and fulfilling work that do not harm to our physical and mental health. And if we ever need to access information and services to make healthier choices, prevent diseases, get treatment, medicines, or recovery support, these would be readily available to us. Never too far away, never too expensive. This has always been our shared vision, an ambitious goal that we call universal health coverage. When health as a fundamental human right is upheld by all countries and all sectors, we lay a strong foundation for building the world we all want and deserve. Evidence shows that health systems powered by a whole of society approach, also known as primary health care, is the most effective and cost effective way to bring services for health and well being closer to people. This could save millions' lives and even increase average life expectancy. As we have over 75 years, World Health Organization stands with all people, communities, and organizations across the world in taking action to build the world we want, a healthy future for all. And on this occasion, Universal Health Coverage Day on 12th December is annual rallying point for advocates to raise voices and share the stories of millions of people still waiting for health. Call on leaders to make smarter investments in health and remind the world about the imperative of UHC. It is an official United Nations designated day that marks the anniversary of unanimous endorsement of UHC in 2012 as an essential priority for international development. This year's campaigns comes at a critical time when countries across the world are rebuilding from the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic while facing many other crises such as national disasters and conflict. It kicks off the countdown to the highest level meeting on UHC, which will be held at the United Nations General Assembly in 2023. The final push to galvanize political support and global action towards achieving UHC targets set for 2030. Together, we can build a world where everyone, everywhere can get health care they need without being pushed into poverty because of having to pay for it. This is the goal that makes all other goals happen. So, a healthy future for all. Everyone should have quality health care without financial hardship. We all deserve a health system we can trust to be there for us throughout our life. For health systems to work, they must work for everyone. Health for all is an investment, not a cost. Amid humanitarian and climate crisis, health for all is more urgent than ever. Strong health systems go hand in hand in healthy environment.
COVID testing in abbreviation PAC. We aim to build testing capacities to strengthen universal access to testing and health services for all Africans.
Scaling up testing capacity is part of our broader universal healthcare agenda to not only contain the COVID-19 pandemic, but be better prepared to contain all future pandemics as well.
With an already overstretched healthcare system because of other major challenges such as malaria, pneumonia, and HIV,
it's not difficult to see that in the middle of this global pandemic, Africa is likely to bear the heaviest burden.
I, Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, former President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and my foundation, teaming up with the African Union, Africa CDC, and Access Challenge, call upon African leaders
we must support all countries to invest in strengthening the foundations of their health systems, and especially primary health care.
This is a moment when one can think about transforming the entire health system through a transformed and reimagined primary healthcare system. This is essential if countries are to achieve the health SDGs and provide universal health coverage.
Primary healthcare has all to do with community health. It has all to do with really engaging with the communities in the provision at that first layer and the most important of healthcare delivery.
UNICEF is working with WHO to lead the PHC accelerator within the Global Action Plan. Our country teams are working shoulder to shoulder with countries to help bring the plan to life in communities around the world.
A joint GAP mission to Pakistan earlier this year has paved the way to strengthen the collaboration among stakeholders regarding PHC for UHC.
During the entire COVID battle, we have actually utilized our primary healthcare system to a very huge advantage.
It's our vision that the implementation of essential package of health services will lay the foundation for a resilient health system in Somalia that can prevent, detect and respond to disease outbreaks and improve health security.
We can only succeed through a combination of national action and multilateral cooperation. Platforms including the SDG 3 Global Action Plan, with its focus on every woman, every child and primary health care, and UHC 2030 can help coordinate approaches and maximize impact.
WHO remains committed to working with our multilateral partners through the Global Action Plan for Healthy Lives and Well-being for All to support countries to achieve an equitable and resilient recovery and to drive progress towards UHC and the other health-related goals by 2030.
Around the world, people are living longer, but often with multiple diseases and conditions that require care over many years. And unfortunately, too many people are not informed or consulted in the care they receive. In some countries, only 1 in 3 people have the risks of their treatment explained to them. 1 in 5 people have at least one unnecessary test, and up to 40% of health spending is wasted due to inefficiency. Healthcare should not be like this. Remember, people live with their condition 24/7, not only when they seek care. That's why people-centered care is so important. People-centered care means ensuring that health services are tailored to people's needs and are provided in partnership with them rather than simply given to them. It means care where people, families, and communities are respected, informed, engaged, supported, and treated with dignity and compassion. People-centered care can have lasting benefits. It improves the trust, experience, and outcomes people have from care, the confidence and job satisfaction of health professionals, and the quality and efficiency of health systems. People-centered care can increase access to health services and reduce unnecessary use of services. Ultimately, it means people get the right care at the right time and in the right place. But too often, this type of care is not standard practice. Implementing people-centered care requires fundamental changes in our approach to healthcare. It means rethinking how health services are organized, managed, and delivered. It means shifting away from asking, "What is the matter with you?" to "What matters to you?" Around the World Health Organization is working with countries to design health systems that put people and their needs at the center of care. Because that's the healthcare that everyone deserves.
With this, we shall conclude the international commemoration of universal health coverage, and we shall move on to our next commemoration. International Day of Neutrality, that is celebrated today and commemorated. Neutrality, as defined as a legal status arising from the absentation of a state from all participation in a war between other states, the maintenance of an attitude of impartiality towards the belligerents and recognition of belligerents of this absentation and impartiality is critically important for the United Nations to gain and maintain condition and the confidence and cooperation of all in order to operate independently and effectively, especially in the situations that are politically charged. As Article 2 of the UN Charter obligates member states to settle their international disputes by peaceful means and to refrain from the threat or the use of force in their relations, the General Assembly reaffirmed those obligations in its resolution 71 by 275. The resolution also underlined that some states' national policies of neutrality can contribute to the strengthening of international peace and security and play an important role in developing mutually beneficial relations among countries of the world. Recognizing that such national policies of neutrality are aimed at promoting the use of preventive diplomacy, which is a core function of the United Nations and occupies a central place among the functions of the Secretary General. The General Assembly decided to declare 12th December the International Day of Neutrality and called for making the day by holding events aimed at enhancing public awareness of the value of neutrality in the international relations. When we look at the background in the face of political tension and escalating crisis, it is of great importance to uphold the principles of sovereignty and the sovereign equality of all states, territorial integrity, self-determination, and non-intervention in the international affairs of any state, and to defend, promote, and encourage the settlement of international disputes by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security are not endangered. Therefore, the policy of neutrality contributes to the strengthening of peace and security in relevant regions and at global level, and plays an important role in developing peaceful, friendly, and mutually beneficial relations between the countries of the world. It is worth noting that the policy of neutrality, a key factor for providing conditions and building a platform for peaceful negotiations, it also closely interconnected with and based on the tools of preventive diplomacy, such as early warning and prevention of the conflict, mediation, good offices, fact-finding missions, negotiation, the use of special envoys, information, informal consultations, peace building, and target development activities. Hence, preventive diplomacy is a core function of the United Nations and is central to the role of United Nations Secretary General, including the special political missions of the United Nations and the good offices of the Secretary General in peacemaking, peacekeeping, and peace building. Consequently, in accordance with the guiding principles for the strengthening of the coordination of emergency humanitarian assistance of the United Nations system, countries with the status of neutrality play an important role in providing and delivering humanitarian assistance in situations of complex emergencies and natural disasters. On 2nd February 2017, the UN General Assembly adopted with a vote resolution 71 by 275, introduced by Turkmenistan, recognized by the UN as a permanently neutral state since 12 December 1995, which noted the link between preservation of peace and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and declared 12 December as the International Day of Neutrality. The aforementioned GA resolution also proposes that UN Secretary General continue to cooperate closely with the neutral states with a view of implementing the principles of preventive diplomacy and utilizing them in the mediation activities. The United Nations is committed to moving from a culture of reaction to one of prevention, preventive diplomacy. The term preventive diplomacy refers to a diplomatic action taken to prevent disputes from escalating into conflicts and to limit the spread of conflicts when they occur. When it is conducted in different forms and fora, both public and private, the most common expression of preventive diplomacy is found in the work of envoys dispatched to crisis areas to encourage dialogue, compromises, and peaceful resolution of tensions. And since its inception, the United Nations have played a critical role in helping to mediate inter and intrastate conflicts at all stages before they escalate into armed conflict, after the outbreak of violence, and during implementation of peace agreements. Successful conflict mediation requires an adequate support system to provide envoys with the proper staff assistance and advice and ensure the talks have the needed logical and financial logistical resources. UN peacemaking flourished in the decade of the following end of the Cold War, as many long-standing armed conflicts were brought to an end through political negotiated settlements. The organization continues to play a preeminent role in peacekeeping, working increasingly in partnership with regional organizations in order to bring ongoing conflicts to an end and to prevent new crises from emerging or escalating. So we have similar commemorations related to this event, like International Day of Peace, International Day of Friendship, International Day of Nonviolence, International Day for Tolerance, and World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. The Sustainable Development Goal 16 to promote just, peaceful, and inclusive societies. Conflict, insecurity, weak institutions, and limited access to justice remain a great threat to sustainable development. The number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict exceeded 70 million in 2018, the highest level recorded by the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, in almost 70 years. In 2019, the United Nations tracked 357 killings and 30 enforced disappearances of human rights defenders, journalists, and trade unionists in 47 countries, and the births of around 1 in 4 children under the age 5 worldwide are never officially recorded, depriving them of a proof of legal identity, crucial for the protection of their rights for access to justice and social services. Among the most affected by corruption are the judiciary and police. Corruption, bribery, theft, and tax evasion cost some US dollars 1.26 trillion for developing countries per year. This amount of money could be used to lift those who are living on less than $1.25 a day and above $1.25 for at least 6 years. Birth registration has occurred for 73% of children under 5, but only 46% of sub-Saharan Africa have had their births registered. Approximately 28.5 million primary school age who are out of school live in conflict-affected areas. The rule of law and development have a significant interrelation, and are mutually reinforcing, making it essential for sustainable development at the national and international level. The proportion of prisoners held in detention without sentencing has remained almost constant in the last decade, at 31% of all prisoners. The number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict exceeded 70 million in 2018, the highest ever recorded by the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, in almost 70 years. In 2019, the United Nations tracked 357 killings and 30 enforced disappearances of human rights defenders, journalists, and trade unionists in 47 countries. Violence against children affects more than 1 billion children around the world and costs societies up to $7 trillion a year. 50% of the world's children experience violence every year. Every 7 minutes, somewhere in the world, a child is killed by violence. 1 in 10 children is sexually abused before the age of 18. 9 in 10 children live in countries where corporal punishment is not fully prohibited, leaving 732 million children without legal protection. 1 in 3 internet users worldwide is a child, and 800 million of them use social media. Any child can become a victim of online violence. Child online sexual abuse reports to NCMEC has grown from 1 million in 2014 to 45 million in 2018. 246 million children worldwide affected by school-related violence each year. 1 in 3 students have been bullied by their peers at school in the last month, and at least 1 in 10 children have experienced cyberbullying. So, as per the Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, we have goal targets to be achieved. 16.1 significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. 16.2 and abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against and torture of children. 16.3 promote the rule of law at the national and international levels and ensure equal access to justice for all. 16.4 by 2030 significantly reduce illicit financial and armed flows, strengthen the recovery and return of stolen assets, and combat all forms of organized crime. 16.5 substantially reduce corruption and bribery in all their forms. 16.6 develop effective, accountable, and transparent institutions at all levels. 16.7 ensure responsive, inclusive, participatory, and representative decision making at all levels. 16.8 broaden and strengthen the participation of developing countries in the institutions of global governance. 16.9 by 2030 provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. 16.10 ensure public access to the information and protect fundamental freedoms in accordance with the national legislation and international agreements. 16.8 strengthen relevant national institutions, including through international cooperation for building capacity at all levels, in a particular in developing countries, to prevent violence and combat terrorism and crime. Finally, 16b, promote and enforce non-discriminatory laws and policies for the sustainable development. So with this, we shall conclude this commemoration for the day. Today is Green Monday, as commemorated dedicated to the environment, though that shouldn't stop you from being eco-friendly. But to all the last minute shopping we all are getting into before Christmas and other festives, official takes over. So leave space. Today is also Festival of Unmentionable Thoughts, which is observed on December 12th. Contrary, humans have a vivid imagination, and every now and then we tend to have thoughts that might be a little too risky to discuss with friends and family. But remember, you are not alone, and there is nothing wrong with what you think. As long as you exercise caution before acting on your thoughts, a few unmentionable thoughts are unlikely to bring you any harm. Our thoughts are influenced by knowledge, concepts, theories, and how we implement them in our lives. Our thoughts can bring us contentment and make us feel hopeful. Freedom of thought is an essential to other liberties, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of expression. Though freedom of thought is important, it does not guarantee inclusion, legality, or protection. It is a very important concept across all democracies, and nearly all democratic constitutions protect these freedoms. For example, Bill of Rights in America has the First Amendment that guarantees that laws do not interfere with religion or any other person's identity, such ideas are also a vital part in international human rights law. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, which is legally binding on member states of the International Convent on Civil and Political Rights, where the freedom of thought is an important article. It states that everyone has a right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right also includes freedom to change their religion and belief. The United Nations Human Rights Committee states that these freedoms are protected unconditionally. Another article of the UDHR guarantees that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference. Since freedom of thought is important to a democratic existence, dictators and autocrats often crack down on freedom of thought to suppress human rights, but unmentionable or otherwise, we should be free to think our own thoughts. 2,500 years ago, Socrates encourages critical thinking among his students, and Thomas Aquinas, in his teaching, encourages critical thinking in 13th century. And critical thinking is encouraged even more through Renaissance in 14th century, and Karl Marx extends critical thinking to political and social life in 19th century. Thinking is a mental process by which beings form psychological associations and models of the world. Thinking is manipulating information, engaging in problem solving, reason, and making decisions. The act of thinking procedure produces more thoughts. The purpose of thinking is to understand our world as best as possible. Our minds evolve in thinking to adapt our environment and make smarter decisions on how to survive, live, and flourish. Applying critical thinking helps you to make decisions that require a lot of thought, big life changing decisions like whether or not to make a career move are aided by critical thinking. which encourages you to research and favor objective logic over your initial emotional response. Think unmentionable thoughts. Think of all times you have had an unmentionable thought. Write it down and look at it at a later time. Ask your friends to share theirs. Write your unmentionable thoughts on sheets of paper and ask your friends to do the same. Write them anonymously so that no one feels uncomfortable. Read the writings of thinkers whom you admire. You will admire the various schools of thinking and even come up with new thoughts. 60% of the human brain is made up of fat, and these fatty acids are crucial for your brain's performance. Research suggests that human brain consists of 86 billion neurons, virtually unlimited storage capacity. And it's a myth that you only use 10% of your brain. You actually use all of it. Neurologists confirm that your brain is always active. However, size does not always imply intelligence. The human brain weighs 3 pounds. The importance of sleep is always sleep deprivation can increase the buildup of protein in your brain that is linked to Alzheimer's disease. When you realize that the people also think unmentionable thoughts, you won't feel so lonely. That is why the celebration of the Festival of Unmentionable Thoughts is so much fun. It unifies us. Festival of Unmentionable Thoughts also make us aware of our democratic rights. Democratic rights, it reminds us that we all are entitled to our own thoughts and opinions. It informs us of our democratic rights. Festival of Unmentionable Thoughts builds a community where we can come together through our thoughts and opinions we share. It builds a community. And we have related commemorations like National Free Thought Day and Positive Thinking Day on September 12th and World Philosophy Day on November 16th and many more. So with this, we shall conclude these commemorations for the day. And thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form. Feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. Quickly attend to the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Take care. Good night.